So this is the so-called preview that the little preview camera imaged before. So as you can see, especially in case of bright field samples, you can see very well where is your sample, what to image. So it is very useful, this feature. You will have this preview window appear, and actually when you adjust the imaging parameters, the preview window is for to navigate on the sample. So as you can see now, the stage and the slide itself is moving as I move the field of view on the preview. Okay?
Yeah.
But with in the preview window, you can also set up which area of this slide I want to image. Okay, because of course, as this is a scanner, you can say it's not a problem that okay, I want to scan the whole slide, all of it. But in most of the cases, this is not what is happening. You just, because time is precious, you just only want to image the sample, and for this we have many kind of tools. How to, it is actually a very important step before scanning, how to choose the area that is going to be scanned. You can use the preview image for this. You can have an automated sample selection. Okay, so the software is using the preview and the threshold to find the sample. Okay, I think it did a really good work here. Okay, so because this is the sample, but of course it has included many other things, so we will see how to make those disappear. If you are not happy with the area that is selected, you can always adjust this threshold. So this threshold is like from 0 to 255, so 8 bits. This is an 8-bit picture. It is a simple threshold, nothing more. So as you lower it, you will lose the pixels that are not that dark, of course, and that's it. Okay. But of course, for example, these patches are going to be always included with the threshold. So you have additional tools how to make those disappear. These are these remove specs. So actually you can increase the size of the sample, that is the minimum to be included. So as I increase it, those are going to disappear because they are small. So specs are these little patches that are for some reason included with the threshold. If you are, I don't know, you also want to image this area here because this is also part of the sample, although it is a little hole, you can just simply dilate this predefined scanning mask pixel by pixel. That's it. So it is dilating. That's it. It is very good to memorize that 0.3 remove specs and 300 dilate max. It's a pretty good default setting, I think. It always works. So that's it. It's quite easy and simple. It is always good to turn on these fill holes in scan map. So it is, we will see the function of this very well, because as you can see, I think I won't be able to show you, but if there would be a hole here, for example, and I click on this, oh wait, yeah, so there is a hole here. I want to include that. There is no need to miss that from the scanning, and fill holes is always good. Okay. Technically, you could try to remove the areas that are out of the cover slip, but I think it is more wise to just simply use this threshold. Okay. So with this, if you have samples like this on your slides, 12 slides preloaded, but of course they are always on a different location. You can save these threshold settings to the imaging profile. So every time the slide is loaded in and the bright field preview is taken, it is always going to be your tissue sample that is going to be imaged, because the tissue is quite the same. So the applied threshold will be very good to separate the tissue for scanning.
Very good.
If you are not happy with this, so I don't know, I don't need this big area, I just want a little sample from this tissue because it could take more time, then you will have this selection restriction box. You can see, so the scan map is the same, you can just simply select which area. So these are going to be excluded, and this is going to be included, not the whole box, only what is red. Okay, so only what is red, but just within the box. If you are still not happy with this, I want to do it manually, then you have to change to manual sample selection. And it is very important, if you leave the mouse for a second on every kind of icon, you will actually know what it is doing. So manual sample selection is the following. I will clean the scan map. Now you don't have thresholding, okay? So of course when I adjust the threshold, it goes back to thresholding, but with manual sampling you are free to draw any kind of scanned areas, and for that we have a simple drawing tool. I want this area to be scanned, or you can choose a circle. I want this area as well to be scanned, or you can go freestyle and I want this. Okay. For certain kind of samples we have also a smart tool like this, but I think you won't work with any of this. This is for so-called TMA samples, when the tissues are in little circles, and you can also adjust everything with this. This software knows a lot, so you can customize many things. So the time is too short now that I can show you everything, but I think that as you have a basic knowledge of the scanner, I recommend just to click everywhere and you will find what you want, because everything is marked. So
Perfect.
after a few scannings you will know what to do, and you can always contact support. Okay?
Yeah.
You can also remove or erase certain areas. Yeah, I don't want this mode now, so there is not just a draw but an erase tool, and you can always remove certain areas. So what you need to do is only the red areas are going to be scanned. Okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. So, and actually if I have a certain scan map like this, I can save it. I can save the scan map, or actually I can save this whole preview in a form of a picture. It could be useful later. But if I save the scan map, and I'm going to save it here in this folder, you will have a third mode to choose the scanned area. Beside thresholding and manual, it is going to be loaded scan map. Here you choose, and I got back the same because it is loaded. So if I clear the manual scan map, there is a clear scan map button. I lost it, but as I saved it before, I can always load it back. Okay. So for now, let's choose this, and let's choose for a trial scanning. I will choose a small area within the tissue. Okay, and that is going to be it. So this is basically the preview window, and what you can also do is adjust what you see. So I don't want to see the scanned area, for example, or I want to see the field of view. So these are the field of views of the 40x objective. So as you can see, these are quite small. So if you scan the whole slide or sample, the big big image is going to be assembled from this small field of views, and you can see how big it is. So this is the preview window. You can adjust the focal plane here. So basically the right side of the software is moving the stage and selecting your scanned area. So I'm going to turn on live image now with this. Okay, and I will tell the software to find focus. And it's very, very fast. It is moving the stage and going through the focal planes of the sample in Z, and we have found our sample. That's it.
Very good.
So I can move the stage in the Z. I can use automatic focus, or I can say that okay, the sample is going to be here, so only cover a range that is manually selected only here, so it is not going through all the stage range, but only on a short area. So it is going to be very, very fast, because of course there is no way your sample focal plane is going to be here or here.
Okay.
Okay,
This range is only for autofocus. Only for autofocusing.
I can still move the stage in the whole range, but if the limits of the range is ticked, when I say find focus, it is also trying to find it within that range, so it is going to be much faster.
This range is used during the scanning too?
Yes. Before the scanning, when you build the focus map with the autofocus function, because you can also do that manually. But if you use the autofocus function, it will apply this range, and as you saw, it is very wise to choose a quite short range, so the focusing is going to be fast.
Perfect.
Yeah. You can also adjust the exposure time, but it is going to happen automatically anyway. What is more important here is you can move the stage like step by step. Okay, so most of the time users are just simply using the mouse to navigate on the slide, which is, I think it's quite okay, and you also have the preview window here. So it is very rare that you use this, but I can adjust, okay, I want to move 100 steps, and then I can, or maybe just 5 at a time, and then I can move the stage. With this you will have the XY coordinates here. You can also use motor step, or you can use
fields of view.
field of views. Yeah. So I can move one field of view. This is actually good.
Helpful, really.
Yeah. So it depends on the user which one they prefer, but basically it's the same. So in case of the Z and the XY, you see the motor steps, and you can move with the arrows, and that's it. Most of the time what you are going to see is the preview window and the focusing window, and that's it.
Very good.
So this is moving the sample, selecting the scanned area, and on the left side you can set the imaging parameter, what kind of objective I want to use. In this scanner now we only have one 40x objective. I think what you will get is going to contain a 40 and a 20x objective, so you can choose either. Here you can choose the autofocusing or the focusing method. You can use autofocus. You can apply the limits of the range that we talked about. And autofocusing, this focus distance is going to be applied during scanning. So if you have the scanned area, before the scanner grabs the images, it has to build a focus map, so where to grab those images in Z. What it's going to do in the autofocus function is, in case of the 15 setting, it is before scanning, it is going to stop at every 15th field of view,
Okay.
and it will quickly try to find the focus within that range. Every 15th one. Okay?
Yeah.
So the less number you type in here, the more accurate your focus map will be. So if your sample is bumpy like this, you want, in case of the 40x objective, you want around 10, because 5 is really accurate, around 10 field of views. If your sample is quite smooth, you can have 20, for example, and that is going to be really good, because it has a cost, because building an accurate focus map at a very frequent field of views, it takes a lot of time.
Of course.
If your sample is smooth, you can say, okay, just please examine the focal plane at every 25th field of views. This is going to be quick. You have a few points, and if they are not in the same Z position, of course, because your sample is like this, the scanned focal plane is going to be like this. So it is like a sheet on these points, and the final scan is going to use this sheet and in XY, the red area, to finally do the image grabbing.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's it. That's the autofocusing method. In our case, 20 is going to be perfect. Here you can adjust the same thing as here, and if you adjust it here, it is the same here. So you can see, like, remove specs, dilate max, they are now the same. Yeah, so it is the same. So you don't have to worry about this here, because mainly you adjust it here. Here you can use what kind of thresholding you are using, so it is also the same as here. What is important, and you may use, is the multi-layer mode. So you can image one single layer, but you can also make a Z-stack. In case of the Z-stack, what you can set is the step size. So what is going to be the distance between two image layers? You have to set this in step size. The step size of our Z motor stage is always 0.2 micrometers. So this is something to remember. And when I say I want 5 steps between two layers, this means 1 micron.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
I see.
that's it. And you can set the level, the number of levels. When I set 7 levels, it means the following. With the autofocus function or with manual, it doesn't matter, you will have a focal plane through the sample. This sheet I mentioned, okay? And in case of 7 levels, it adds, so one is already, we have already 1, which is the focal plane, and it adds 3 to the top or above and 3 below.
Oh.
And that's how you will get 7 layers. If I give 9, it's going to be 4, 4.
Yeah.
Okay? If I set 8, it is going to be like 4 and 4 around the focal plane, but not exactly in the same position. Okay, that's it. So you give how many levels you want, starting from the middle, and it adds equally to the bottom or to the top of the section. But I will use single layer now. Okay. Color matrix is always custom. So color matrix is the color adjustment of the image, and this depends on the final optical pathway. And this custom settings is set by manufacturing. Okay, so that's why it is custom, and you always have to use custom.
Okay.
And finally, you can adjust what kind of image you want, in what quality and what container. In most of the cases, during bright field imaging, you want to choose JPEG, but you can choose from these other 3. And most of the time, you will need good JPEG compression is actually 80%
Yeah.
compression. I think you know that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And if you are not happy with that, because if you are zooming very much, you can see the artifacts of the JPEG compression, you can always choose excellent, which is going to be 90%. Okay, that is already really good, and you will have manageable file sizes, because imagine that, for example, I image this whole tissue, which is not very rare, whole tissue in 3 layers. That's really big file. So if I did not apply any kind of compression, it is going to be really big, while the quality is not going to be that better, because 90% JPEG compression compress the size very much already, while the quality is quite the same, really good. If you are imaging some very important image for a marketing figure or article figure, of course you can say, okay, I want lossless compression, but it is going to be very big, so be prepared to have enough drive space for that. I'm going to choose good, and as we are using JPEG, we have 8-bit bit depth, and of course you want to choose stitching to stitch this field of views, so it is very important. And I will talk about this a little bit later. So we will have a profile for this sample, or for this type of slide. So here I will save this profile. I will save like bright field profile slide 1. Okay, I will save it, and now this profile is among the others. Okay. So if I set anything, I don't know, I set this to Z stack, I set it to low, or what was it, I can always go back to bright field slide 1, and everything is going to be the same. Okay. So these are the profiles for imaging parameters. And on the top part of the software, you can handle the magazine. You can unload one slide to the magazine, or unload the whole magazine. Or if you click on a slide, it is just simply going to be loaded. You can adjust the objective, but now we only have one. You can have useful functions under the live imaging button. For example, I can image the overexposed pixels. I can see the histogram of the field of view I am on. I can have a ruler. So it's just like basics tools for live imaging. Here you can set where do you want your scan to be, and under what file name. You can generate a file name or have a manual file name. So this is going to be bright field slide 1 as the profile. And I can choose a folder. I'm going to choose this. So now we have a file name and the file path. You can also immediately make a conversion to any kind of image file format, but you can do that also later.
Default is Mirrors.
Yes, default is Mirrors, but if you don't want to do the export from the viewer, you can immediately apply a conversion here to a certain file format. So you can always, if you will have like a server, then you can immediately store your scanning on a server instead of a local PC drive. Okay, that's it. Another very useful function is that, for example, I want, let's choose manual now. I want 2 little areas from this sample, or let's make it 3. By default, it is going to be in the same file and they are going to be separated exactly by this distance, okay? Because basically they are part of the whole slide.
Of course.
But you can turn on either here, show scan map objects separately, or now it is turned on, you can turn on scan separately here. In this case, all these red areas are going to be completely different files, and the software is simply going to add a line and a number to the predefined file name, and these are really separate scannings. So it means if you have chosen autofocus, it is first going to build an autofocus map to this area only, to this little square, do the scanning, save it to another file, then do the autofocus map to this and save it to a separate file. When separate scan is not turned on, the autofocus map is going to be one big focus map for all the three, and then these are going to be imaged together in the same file. So this is also a pretty useful function.
Yeah.
Perfect. You can add comments to a slide. This could be useful for future, for yourself or for other users. You can start the scan. You can take all the previews. This is the preview for all the slides from here, and and these are for handling the profiles. So this is the microscope mode. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically for adjusting scanning and imaging parameters and save them to profiles. Okay. So you can load them back later.